Tonight, and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex explored changing their family name to Spencer amid fears that the King and the Home Office were deliberately blocking their children's passport applications. Astonishing allegations, this from Harry and Meghan. They applied for new passports using the surname Sussex, but were met with excuses and delays. Anyway, they said they should have got the passport within weeks. A source close to Harry and Meghan told The Guardian, obviously, that the couple believed the applications were being deliberately blocked because the King didn't want Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet to use the royal titles. But after lawyers for the Sussexes sent a letter threatening to pursue a data subject access request, which would have revealed details about this delay, they say they were miraculously issued with a passport. Well, I'm joined now by the editor-at-large of the Mail on Sunday, Charlotte Griffith. Charlotte, thank you very much. Tremendous to have you on. This is a really astonishing allegation by Harry and Meghan. Yes,
and I have to say, the sources close to Harry and Meghan are a little bit confused because they say two things. One, that they think the passport was blocked because of the HRH title, and two, because they were using the name Sussex. But Archie and Lily's surname is Mountbatten-Windsor, so that might have caused a delay in itself because they'd suddenly changed the surname. And second of all, it's my understanding that they applied for this passport before the Queen had died. It wasn't until Charles became king that Archie and Lilibet can use the titles HRH.
Right.
Because you have to be the grandchild of the monarch. So they were applying before they could lose the HRH titles. So that's where the delay came from, in my opinion.
To gratuitously accuse the King of something like this is really, really surprising. But can I just play us a little video of this? Because this was released earlier today, and it's Meghan Markle and as you'll see, Prince Harry, shortly before the birth, I think, of Lilibet, their first child.
Oh my goodness, Royal Sussex Squad. Gather around because we have yet another example of just how far some people in the British establishment will go to throw shade and obstacles in the path of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. And let me tell you, it's absolutely outrageous, but also honestly not surprising when you see the pattern that's been repeating itself over and over again since Meghan first entered that royal bubble. But what's new here, what's so galling this time, is that now it's not just Harry and Meghan they're targeting, they're dragging the kids into it. Little Archie and Lilibet, two innocent children, forced to wait half a year for something as basic as passports because of petty royal politics. It's enough to make your blood boil. So let's walk through what's been happening piece by piece, because the devil is in the details, and once you see the whole picture, it's impossible to deny just how calculated and manipulative these forces can be. The story broke that Harry and Meghan were trying to get passports for Archie and Lilibet, and what should have taken a matter of weeks ended up dragging on for nearly 6 months. 6 months! And during this whole time, you can just imagine the anxiety and the stress that must have caused for Harry and Meghan. Because these aren't just travel documents. These passports represent their children's rightful identity, their heritage, and the ability to move freely between the US and the UK. But apparently, that was all too much for some folks over there in the so-called corridors of power. We're talking about children here. Children who have already been forced to live under a microscope because of who their parents are. And instead of treating them like any other British citizens, which they are, these officials decided to turn it into yet another power play, another chance to try and control and diminish the Sussexes. And why? Because those passport applications included the titles HRH, His Royal Highness, and Her Royal Highness. Let that sink in. Because Archie and Lilibet are entitled to those titles. That's not Harry and Meghan making things up. That's not them being difficult or entitled. It's the law. It's tradition. It's their birthright. End of story. But of course, there are always those people in the palace, or lurking in the background, whispering in the ears of the media, who just can't stand the idea of Harry and Meghan's children having what is rightfully theirs, so they decided to play games, to drag their feet, and to make this entire process as difficult and humiliating as possible. And let's be clear, this was never about technical issues or systems failures, no matter how many times they trot out those excuses. This was about control and punishment, plain and simple. Now, the reports also reveal that Harry actually reached out to his uncle, Earl Spencer, yes, the brother of Princess Diana, to discuss changing the children's surname to Spencer if things got too bad. Can we just pause and take that in? Because that is a huge, huge step. For Harry to consider dropping the Mountbatten-Windsor name, the name of the very family that has caused so much pain for him and Meghan, in favour of his mother's family name, that's not something you do lightly. That's not something you even consider unless you are completely fed up and have absolutely no faith left in the people who are supposed to be your family. And honestly, who could blame him? Harry has been clear for years now that he feels like his mother's family, the Spencers, were the only ones who truly had his back. And here we are, seeing history repeat itself yet again, with Meghan and their children on the receiving end of the same cold, callous treatment that Diana endured. It's heartbreaking and infuriating all at once. Let's also talk about how telling it is that it wasn't until Harry and Meghan threatened legal action that the passports finally materialised. That's right. After all the excuses and the endless runaround, it was only when the Sussex's lawyers sent that letter, threatening to file a data subject access request, which would have forced the government to come clean about every single conversation, every single delay, and every single shady move, that suddenly, magically, those passports appeared. Funny how that works, huh? This isn't just about passports, though. It's about the fundamental right to identity and belonging. It's about whether children of a royal bloodline, children of the son of the king, no less, are going to be treated with the respect and dignity they deserve, or whether they're going to be pawns in some endless game of royal one-upmanship and petty power plays. And what's so infuriating is that the people doing this, the so-called keepers of tradition and history, are actually the ones trampling all over that tradition and history when it suits their agenda. It's also about the hypocrisy of it all. Because you know, as well as I do, that if this were William's children or anyone else's kids in the immediate line of succession, those passports would have been processed in record time. No questions asked, no delays, no technical issues. But because it's Harry and Meghan, because it's the couple who dared to say no more and chart their own course, suddenly everything is a problem, everything is up for debate, everything is another opportunity to flex their control. It's disgusting. And you know, it's so predictable too, because this is the same royal establishment that spent years turning a blind eye to the vicious racism and misogyny that Meghan faced in the press. The same establishment that never lifted a finger to correct the lies and the smear campaigns against her. The same establishment that made it perfectly clear you can be a royal, but only on their terms. Only if you're willing to play the game. Only if you're willing to accept the constant drip, drip, drip of negativity and sniping from the media, while you keep a stiff upper lip and smile for the cameras. Well, Harry and Meghan said no, and they've been paying the price for it ever since. But here's the thing, squad. They're still here. They're still standing. They're still fighting for their children, for their right to live as a family, and for their right to be recognised for who they truly are. And that's something the palace can't erase, no matter how hard they try. Because Harry and Meghan have something more powerful than any title, any passport, any fancy document. They have love. They have truth. They have each other. And they have all of us, standing with them, amplifying their story, and refusing to let them be silenced. Let's also take a moment to think about what this means for Archie and Lilibet as they grow up. Because one day they're going to read about all of this. They're going to see the way their parents fought for them, refused to let them be pushed aside, and insisted on their birthright. And they're going to know, without a shadow of a doubt, that they come from a family that values them for who they are, not for who some institution thinks they should be. And let's be real. This is bigger than just Harry and Meghan's family. This is about how so many families are treated by the very institutions that claim to protect them. It's about that double standard, that gatekeeping mentality that says, we'll accept you, but only if you play by our rules. And what Harry and Meghan are showing us is that you don't have to accept that. You can stand up, you can push back, you can demand better. And that is why they are such a beacon of hope and strength for so many people around the world. We've seen it time and time again, whether it's passports, patronages or press coverage. The Sussexes are treated as outsiders because they refuse to conform, because they refuse to stay silent. because they refuse to let anyone else define their worth. And you know what? That's exactly why we love them. Because they're showing us what it looks like to live your truth, even when it's hard. To love fiercely, even when the world tries to tear you down. To keep moving forward, even when every door seems to be closing in your face. And let's not forget the role of the media in all of this. Because you can bet your last penny that the minute this story broke, the tabloids were spinning it like it was somehow Harry and Meghan's fault. Oh, they're too royal, they're too entitled, they're making demands. Give me a break. These are parents trying to secure the most basic, essential right for their children. The right to a passport, to an identity, to a future. And yet somehow they're the villains in the story? Absolutely not. We see through it. We see how the same media outlets that hounded Meghan for daring to be a proud black woman in that family are now twisting this passport delay into another excuse to undermine them. It's the same tired playbook, but we're not buying it. Because the truth is on Harry and Meghan's side, and when you stand in the truth, you're unstoppable. So let's take a moment to send some real love and positive energy to Harry, Meghan, Archie and Lilibet, because they're showing all of us what courage looks like. They're showing all of us what it means to protect your children, to stand up to injustice, and to refuse to let the past define your future. And they're doing it all with so much grace and dignity, even when the establishment tries to chip away at them every single day. And that squad is why we're here. That's why we keep talking, why we keep pushing back, and why we keep supporting Harry and Meghan. Because they deserve nothing less than our full support, our loud voices, and our unwavering belief in their right to live their truth. So if you're watching this and you're feeling that fire in your belly, that righteous indignation and that love for the Sussexes, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel so you never miss a moment of truth-telling and real talk. And if you want to go the extra mile and help us keep this conversation going, consider donating via Super Thanks. It truly makes a difference and helps us keep the light shining bright for Harry, Meghan, Archie and Lilibet. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle suspected kids' passports were being blocked. The Sussexes reside in the US. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex looked into changing their surname to Spencer, amid repeated delays by British officials to issue passports for their children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, according to reports. It has been claimed that Prince Harry and Meghan waited almost 6 months for their children's passports to be issued and believe the application was blocked due to the use of their royal titles, according to The Guardian. Archie and Lilibet became entitled to use their royal title when their grandfather, the King, acceded to the throne in 2022 because of rules set out by King George V in 1917. Harry and Meghan started using Prince and Princess for Archie and Lilibet after the princess's christening in 2023, following correspondence with the King about the matter. The Sussexes have been using their children's royal titles since 2023. A source is said to have told the newspaper that the Sussexes had feared that UK officials were dragging their feet because the passport applications included the titles HRH, Her Royal Highness, as well as the surname Sussex for both children. Archie was previously known by the royal family's surname Mountbatten-Windsor, following his birth in May 2019. The source claimed to The Guardian that the King hadn't wanted Archie and Lily to carry the titles. Most of all, the HRH and the British passports, once created, would be the first and perhaps the only legal proof of their names. But Buckingham Palace strongly denied to the Telegraph that the King or Palace aides had anything to do with the delays in issuing their passports. Archie previously used the surname Mountbatten-Windsor from birth hello. Understands that Harry reached out to his maternal uncle Earl Spencer to discuss the possibility of using Spencer as the family's surname if the applications were blocked. The standard wait time for a passport is 3 weeks. But following a 3-month delay, due to technical issues, it is understood Harry and Meghan reapplied using the 24-hour passport service, only to have their meeting cancelled at the last minute owing to a systems failure. Meghan spoke about her family's surname, Sussex, on an episode of her Netflix series, The Children's Passports were eventually issued after lawyers for the Duke and Duchess sent a letter threatening to pursue a data subject access request. It's claimed that this could have revealed details of the delays and the nature of any behind-the-scenes discussions between British officials responsible for issuing the documents. Let's keep amplifying the truth. Let's keep standing up for what's right. And let's keep reminding the world the Sussexes will not be silenced, and neither will we. Until next time, stay strong, stay proud, and stay loud, squad. Sending love and light to each and every one of you.